I'll do that, yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. Good to actually see you in person for a change. The only announcement I have tonight is that item 32 on the agenda has been withdrawn. So that's it.
Can you hear me? I need to recuse from the consent agenda vote.
Bet you thought I was going to look younger when we came back. We'll begin with item 3, Arrington Retreat, Section 4, Maintenance Bond for Roads, Drainage, and Erosion Control, $250,000. Recommendation, release the bond. Item 4, Arrington Retreat, Section 5, Maintenance Bond for Roads, Drainage, and Erosion Control, $290,000. Recommendation, extend the bond in the current amount for 1 year. Item 5, Arrington Retreat, Section 5, Performance Bond for Wastewater Collection, $125,300. Recommendation, convert to maintenance in the amount of $37,590 for 2 years. Item 6, Arrington Ridge, Section 1, Maintenance Bond for Water, $28,500. Recommendation, release the bond. Item 7, Cedermont Farms Rural Retreat, Maintenance Bond for Landscaping, $1,485. Recommendation, release the bond. Item 8, Enclave at Dove Lake, Wastewater Area, Performance Bond for Wastewater Treatment Disposal System, $271,500. Recommendation, convert to maintenance amount in the current amount for 2 years. Item 9, Falls Grove, Section 6, Performance Bond for Water, $57,600. Recommendation, release the bond. Item 10, Fox and Canyon, Section 1, Performance Bond for Landscaping, $36,300. Recommendation, extended current amount for a period of 6 months. Item 11, Hardiman Springs, Section 1, Maintenance Bond for Water, $37,500. Recommendation, release the bond. Item 12, Hardiman Springs, Section 1, Performance Bond for Wastewater Collection System, $104,000. Recommendation, extended current amount for a period of 1 year. Item 13, Hardiman Springs, Section 1, Performance Bond for Roads, Drainage, and Erosion Control, $550,000. Recommendation, extended current amount for a period of 1 year. Item 14, Hart's Landmark, Maintenance Bond for Sewer, $40,000. Recommendation, reduce to the amount of $20,000 for a period of 1 year. Item 15, Stevens Valley, Section 1, Maintenance Bond for Roads, Drainage, and Erosion Control, $665,000. Recommendation, extended current amount for 1 year. Item 16, The Grove, Section 5, Maintenance Bond for Roads, Drainage, and Erosion Control, $300,000. Recommendation, release the bond. Item 17, The Grove, Section 7, Maintenance Bond for Roads, Drainage, and Erosion Control, $275,000. Recommendation, extend current amount for 1 year. Item 18, Troubadour, Section 6, Performance Bond for Wastewater Collection, $40,500. Recommendation, extended current amount for 1 year. Item 19, Troubadour, Section 6, Performance Bond for Water, $230,000. Recommendation, reduced to maintenance amount of $34,300 for 1 year. Item 20, Troubadour, Section 6, Performance Bond for Roads, Drainage, Erosion Control, $626,000. Recommendation, extended current amount for 1 year. Item 21, Troubadour, Section 7, Performance Bond for Wastewater Collection System, $47,250. Recommendation, extended current amount for 1 year. Item 22, Troubadour, Section 7, performance bond for water, $350,000. Recommendation, reduce the maintenance amount of $52,300 for a period of 1 year. Item 23, Troubadour, Section 7, performance bond for roads, drainage, erosion control, $625,000. Recommendation, extending current amount for 1 year. Item 24, Vale Creek, performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control, $200,000. Recommendation, release the bond. Item 25, Vineyard Valley, Section 3, maintenance bond for landscaping, $13,000. Recommendation, release the bond. And now dropping down to item 28, final plat review for Hardiman Springs, Section 3, containing 19 lots on 20.99 acres located off Murfreesboro Road in the 5th Voting District. This plat is in order, and staff recommends approval of the final plat with the following conditions. 1, establishment of a performance bond in the amount of performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control in the amount of $398,000. Item 2, establishment of performance bond for wastewater collection system in the amount of $38,800. Item 3, establishment of performance bond for water improvements in favor of Nolensville College Grove Utility District in the amount of $150,000. Item 4, the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. 5, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced sureties. Item 6, execution of stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And 7, submission of approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and a recording of the plat.
It might be faster just to do it again.
Aye.
No, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir, I will. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your April Planning Commission agenda packet, you were provided with a copy of the proposed subdivision regulations. This update is necessary, we feel like, in order to do a number of things. One, to ensure that the regulations are consistent with the zoning ordinance, to ensure that the review procedures are consistent with current and best practices, to adjust certain standards that have resulted in numerous requests for variances or waivers, including right-of-way width, roadway grade, etc., to better address large lot easement subdivisions by adding standards for private drives, adding a preliminary plat stage to the review process to eliminate standards and procedures that have become obsolete and to improve the overall user friendliness of the regulations through modern formatting consistent with the zoning ordinance. The updated regulations have been available for viewing on the county website since about mid-April. Additionally, the updated regulations were distributed to a number of what we refer to as frequent users, including surveyors, engineers, and so forth, who routinely submit projects to the county for review and approval. We did not receive specific comments on the draft that was sent out. Staff recommends adoption of the updated subregs with an effective date of tonight. Much of it's procedural. We also, as I mentioned in the report, we made some changes on how we do things with large lot easement subdivisions. You know how you always see the write-up say that they're requesting a 40-foot right-of-way. Well, we just now have adjusted that standard so that it's 40 feet. Things along those lines. Sidewalks are addressed in the zoning ordinance, actually. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hey, Mike, can you just address a little bit the dark sky compliant aspect? I just wanted to thank you and Christy. This is something that's been coming up. There's such a difference between municipal and county zoning and opportunity. In Nolensville, we have dark sky compliant lighting. I think Franklin has it for some zoning sections. Could you address that just a little bit and what this does?
Sure.
Thanks.
So you've probably seen emails from citizens that request dark sky components or provisions in our regulations. They're basically designed to reduce the glare that would kind of light up a sky and prevent you from seeing stars and that sort of thing. So we have pretty good standards already for commercial uses.
Yes.
And that sort of thing. The hole that we had was residential streetlights, really, that were exempt from our lighting standards previously. And so we removed that exemption and require those streetlights to use cutoff valves and be directed downward.
Thank you so much for both you and Christy for being responsive to citizens and conversations in that. I noticed this, I'll just say this, from if you've ever been on the Triton Special Area Plan, everything I do, I hear staff are so good at listening to the community and then putting it in professional form to bring it back to us. And I just thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to everyone. The applicant is proposing an 11-lot major traditional subdivision. The property in question was rezoned from the Rural Development 1 to the Triune Character Area 1 on November the 9th, 2020. However, the application was submitted prior to this change in zoning and determined to be a complete application. Therefore, the application was reviewed pursuant to the Rural Development 1 standards as required by the zoning ordinance. The review of a concept plan is the first stage in the development approval process. The subject property totals 22.8 acres and is located off Nolensville Road, approximately 1/3 mile north of its intersection with Old Murfreesboro Road. The proposed development consists of 11 lots ranging in size from approximately 1 acre to 1.5 acres. Wastewater will be handled via individual on-site septic. At the time of this writing, the Williamson County Department Sewage Disposal Management is still reviewing the request. The application was submitted on November the 2nd, 2020, and was accepted onto the January 2021 agenda. Upon review of the concept plan, staff provided the applicant with a lengthy list of comments and changes that were necessary in order for the concept plan to comply with applicable regulations. Shortcomings included the following. Number one, the concept plan shows at least one area of very steep slopes on a lot in violation of the zoning ordinance, which requires such areas to be located entirely within open space. Number two, the application did not include a hydrological determination report, which is required to determine whether perennial and/or intermittent streams exist, in which case they are required to be located in open space, along with their associated waterway natural areas. It is noteworthy that the county's GIS mapping system indicates the presence of a stream in a location on the property that crosses multiple proposed building lots. Number three, the concept plan shows a possible wetland on the site. The zoning ordinance requires that whenever a wetland is shown on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's National Wetlands Inventory map, a qualified professional must delineate such wetland areas. This is to ensure that these areas are properly protected in open space. However, no such delineation was made. And number four, the Department of Sewage Disposal Management noted that there appears to be very limited soils to serve lots 4, 6, 8, and 9 with septic systems. Based on the limited information submitted, it appears that there may not be sufficient soils to serve those lots. Only by providing additional soil analysis could it even be determined if sufficient soils are present to serve the wastewater needs of those lots. Those comments, amongst others, were provided to the applicant in December of 2020. Since that time, the applicant has not submitted any additional information or responded to the staff comments. On December 21st, 2020, the applicant requested that action on the item be deferred until the March 2021 meeting. At the January 2021 meeting, the Planning Commission voted to defer the concept plan to the March 2021 meeting per the applicant's request. On January the 22nd, 2021, the applicant again requested a referral until the May 2021 meeting in order to allow time to obtain the required environmental reports. Based on that request, the Planning Commission voted at its March 2021 meeting to defer action on the item until the May 2021 meeting. At this time, the applicant is, once again, requesting that action on this item be deferred until the June 2021 meeting. As of this writing, it has been nearly 5 months since staff provided the applicant with comments and a list of necessary changes. Given the amount that has transpired without the applicant addressing staff comments and making the changes necessary for the application to meet applicable regulations as noted above, staff is reluctant to recommend another deferral at this time. Should the Planning Commission choose to grant the deferral request, the Planning Commission should make clear its expectations to review of this request at the meeting to which it is deferred. Should the Planning Commission choose not to grant the deferral request, the Planning Commission should review the concept plan as presented in accordance with the ordinance, rules, and regulations, and should state the reasons for its action on the concept plan. It should also be noted that the representative for the applicant is here to answer any questions.
Evening. We are trying our best right now to do that. Twice, I believe. Twice that I know of. I'm just here I'm not the actual client. I'm here to try to represent him to give y'all the best option I can. I know that, I know it's been deferred twice. I'm here on his behalf. I don't know if I have authority, I guess. This is my first time here, but I'm here to try to help.
all of us are fair-minded, and we always like to give a little bit of grace, and we understand that. But when I see something like this, where, you know, there's a lack of complying with the applicable regulations, there's, you know, steep slopes in violation of the zoning ordinance, there's not a hydrological report, we've got intermittent streams existing. I look at every single section that maybe 4 out of the 11 lots may not even perk. I don't think this is a professional item to vote on, and I guess I don't personally want to feel like I'm being arbitrary or capricious to hold other applicants to certain standards and then just say, oh, well, you know, I'm struggling with this. So I just appreciate that opportunity to talk. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sharon, over here. Over here. I'm sorry. Where am I? I'm not in my usual spot. I guess my concern is we have 4 points here that have not been addressed. There seems like there's been ample time for that to be addressed. There hasn't been any response. There hasn't been any information given to staff upon their requests. So don't have a good feeling, and doesn't make me happy. Right, right. Right, I think staff sounds like they're pretty much at their wits' end, and, you know, I can't blame them at this point.
Zoom call. I was just going to concur with what you all are saying and what you're saying, John. And although we appreciate the gentleman coming, to your point, the applicant couldn't even show up. So if it was that important to him, he should have been here with an entourage as far as that goes. But I think they need to go back to the drawing board and kind of start over. I agree.
So turning this down tonight or not allowing the deferral, does this come back as, is there option to come back under the Arrington special, or I'm sorry, not Arrington, the triune plan in the future?
So Commissioner McCoy, the property was rezoned back in November from, I think it was RD1 to the Triune Character Area 1, pursuant to that Triune Special Area Plan that y'all adopted. And so essentially what this means is that's a 1 unit per 5 acre zoning district, the Triune Character Area 1. They submitted this application prior to November 9th, so we've been reviewing it under the old zoning. But if this is turned down, then their option would be to pursue a development that complies with the current zoning.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, it seems to me, my comment on this, it seems to me that they're, in this case and other cases we have, they're trying to use the date of application to go under the old plan. And therefore, I think we should turn it down. Other question I'd like to ask staff at this time, and when I was reading over the subdivision regulations, is there anything in the regulations that puts a time limit on a concept plan when somebody applies for it and they don't bring in the proper information? It seems to me it can be ongoing for a year.
Yeah, there's nothing specific in the subregs that you know talks about how many times it can be deferred. They're entitled, I think I'm correct, by the bylaws to request a deferral, but you all don't. Well, you don't have to. I don't believe you have to grant any deferrals. So this is a case that's highly unusual. You know, typically, you know, if something gets deferred, we work through the issues, but because in this case, you know, they were provided our review comments in December and still haven't submitted anything in response to that. That coupled with the fact that we don't have at this point a concept plan that meets the regulations, even the old regulations that they were under, that was the reason for our reluctance to support a deferral this time.
I would like to request that the staff look at this, to possibly put a time limit on these concept plans that come to us when people put them in, to seemingly have a date so they can get in on another plan or something where they have so much time to get in. You have a time limit when you have to answer them in 10 days. I'd like the staff to look at that, if you would.
Yeah, we'll talk that through as staff. Thanks.
And I'd like to make a motion that we do not defer this, that we turn this down because the applicant has not met the requirements by staff, and then that in a timely fashion, and they have not shown up tonight to tell us why. So I would make a motion that we deny this concept plan.
Can I just confirm that the motion is to deny the concept plan as presented based on the reasons that's enumerated in the staff report, in addition to the other things you said? Okay. No, just making sure that's what we said in the record. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A revised preliminary plat for this development was approved at the March 2021 meeting. The applicant is now requesting final plat approval of the first section of the development, which contains 49 lots, approximately 49 acres of open space, and the disposal and storage areas for the wastewater treatment system. As required with the approval of the revised site plan for the non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system, the applicant has provided a letter from TDEC indicating this system was installed and is functioning, the as-built drawings of the system, the sealed certification letter from the design engineer, the letter from the owner/utility provider, has posted the required performance bonds, and has executed the required performance agreements for the reference performance bonds. The plat is consistent in layout with that depicted on the revised preliminary plat. All required off-site roadway improvements have been completed. Staff recommends approval of the final plat with the following conditions. Number 1, the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. Number 2, establishment of a performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control in the amount of $600,000. This is a reduced performance amount based on work completed. Number 3, establishment of a maintenance bond for water improvements in favor of Millcroft and Utility District in the amount of $60,324. Number 4, establishment of a performance bond for water improvements in favor of Millcroft and Utility District in the amount of $402,106. Number 5, establishment of a performance bond for the wastewater collection system in the amount of $146,000. Number 6, establishment of a performance bond for landscaping in the amount of $49,000. Number 7, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced sureties. Number 8, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And number 9, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Items 3 and 4 both refer to water improvements. I'm just curious why they're broken out separately.
That is the way that Millcroft and Utility District has presented it to us as two different bonds. Why they've done it that way, I do not know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is approximately 64 acres in size and is located off Buchanan Lane, approximately 1/4 mile south of Paytonsville Road. The applicant is requesting approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create the third lot off an existing 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement. The site contains natural resources requiring protection, including steep slopes, ridgetops, slippage soils, and woodlands. There are moderately steep slopes inside and outside of the building envelopes and very steep slopes outside of the building envelopes. All zoning ordinance requirements, including those regarding the protection of natural resources, have been met. The applicant is proposing an individual septic system for the lot, and the Williamson County Department of Sewage Disposal Management has approved the request. Water will be provided by the Millcroft and Utility District. As no fire hydrants are proposed and as none are currently located within 500 feet of the building envelopes have been separated by 200 feet. The plat is in order and staff recommends approval.
So is this a home to be built on this one huge lot, or is this a business, or what do we know about this?
It is going to be a residential lot, so the zoning words would probably permit 2 houses, but it's a single lot for residential use.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A site plan for this use is under review by staff. However, due to the cost of the required landscaping improvements and pursuant to Section 16.07 of the zoning ordinance, a performance bond for landscaping improvements must be established by the Planning Commission prior to final site plan approval by staff. Staff recommends the establishment of a performance bond for landscaping improvements in the amount of $23,600.
So what is the $23,600 based on?
So that is based on the number of plantings that they will use and the shrubs and the trees.
Thank you.